I am looking forward. Um, it's funny to say, like, almost entirely to like the slander on either Gojo or Sukuna's side. Almost, not more so, but almost more so than the chapter itself, just because of how funny it's been.
Dude,
If Sukuna does bring out the 10 shadows, the way people will clown him is so fun. It's just hilarious. I'm looking forward to it. And if Gojo gets packed and Sukuna hasn't brought out the 10 shadows so far, that's gonna be funny as well. And then also just in terms of chapter, I'm curious to see what Sukuna has been kind of like scheming at. So I'm excited.
What about like practical like fight predictions? Like what do you think Sukuna's gonna do? Mahoraga off rip, or do the thing where he personally wears the crown to sort of collect data for Mahoraga? That's what I think is gonna happen.
I think wearing the crown would be his best solution. He's more durable. He has his own abilities that he can use. So I think like collecting that data himself, allowing himself to get hit, or just opening another domain expansion with Sukuna to kind of force that sort of issue would all make sense and be cool. But yeah.
Okay. Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my god, this actually leads me to the biggest thing we got to address. So a couple days ago, I think it's been a week now, at Anime Expo, there was a revelation. The revelation was a comment by one Gege Akutami regarding the ending of Jujutsu Kaisen. And do you want to tell him? What the quote was?
Sure. Yeah, he just basically said, you know, while JJK is in its like final act, or it's like wrapping up essentially, it's not ending anytime soon. That is what his editor specifically said.
It's not ending anytime soon. And BR and I we're gonna talk about this on the members anime episode, but we decided to hold off until the official chapter release, right, to really dive into the nitty gritty because it's about the manga. Is Gay lying to himself?
So
here's the problem.
Here's
right?
the thing. Go ahead.
Show me that you believe it, right? Because saying it is one thing, right? He's not writing like a guy who believes that statement. Is that fair?
No.
Insane.
But I'll put it like this, right? So there's two things. One, you could say that Gege didn't say this, his editor did, right?
Okay.
So Gege didn't say shit, I guess. Like, granted, we're taking it as word because one, not only did Gege not disagree, but an editor is also a pretty large portion of like, they know where the story's going and they have a lot of input, right? Especially with Gege, he's made author comments saying like he'll do basically whatever his editor says. And mostly he was joking, but it kind of does speak to a sort of a pliability with Gege in his story, right? So one, right, if it doesn't go on for an extremely long time, you could always say, oh well, he never said it. But two, you gotta just ask yourself, what does anytime soon mean?
Right. I'm hoping.
Does that mean 6 months? Does that mean a year, 2, 3? Right? Because if Oda said, I'm not ending One Piece anytime soon, that means you guys got another decade of One Piece, right? if Tabata said Black Clover's not ending anytime soon, that means you guys got at least another 150 chapters. If Horikoshi said that, you guys are getting another 100 chapters. Blah, 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 blah,
Horikoshi
blah,
would just be
right?
lying.
But like, the thing is it's possible that like, we may be misconstruing anytime soon. I don't necessarily think so, personally.
So what's your like how do you perceive anytime soon?
I think we have like a year more. That's what I would imagine. I would imagine like anytime soon means like, we're good for a pretty decent portion of the year. I don't think you could say we're not ending anytime soon and then put out like barely above 20 chapters. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It doesn't seem very coherent with like the point you're making, if I had to be honest, right?
Yeah.
I will say, like, to me, that looks more like we may end this time next year sort of thing. Not necessarily as a bare minimum, but just kind of as like a pretty, I feel like, safe estimate. And I also say that, like, I say that because, like, we look at like Gojo versus Sukuna and things like that, but we've been talking about wanting to see more shit explored, right? And all it takes for us to have another year's worth of content, literally just means Gege has to just start exploring some shit more.
Literally, like, give us that flashback to Gojo's unsealing reception. He's not short for content, right? That's the problem. Yeah, and I think the heart of like why I'm bringing this up is that this is good news to me, but you know, because I obviously don't want JJK to end like this soon, right? But a part of me is almost like, Gege, please tell me you believe this, right? Because that's always what it comes down to. I don't want to hear Gege being like, oh yeah, I meant like 32 more chapters, some low ass number like that, right? Like I want him to be like, nah, another year, maybe more.
Yeah, I mean, I would like that personally. And like it just depends. I will say this, excuse me. It probably can't get 50 more well, I don't know. I'll just say this, like there is a writing style, or there is like periods in Gege's writing where you can see that
he's taking
that is not conducive. Well, I was gonna go the opposite route actually. That is not conducive to a longer running shonen, right? The way you don't write certain things or put them to the side is fine. I have my problems with it, I have my criticisms, but I don't really want to talk about that right now. It's fine, but it's just not conducive to long running shit. But the thing is, he has the lore, he has the foundation, he has the characters, right? There are a myriad of different ways he could go about telling this story, in which not only could he just keep telling it for a year, he could tell it for many years, right? There's so many characters or like different things that can be talked about, or like time skip to like a Heian era flashback could easily be, what was the hidden inventory, like 15 chapters? A Heian era flashback can be 15 chapters. Flashback covering like a month's worth of content of like preparation and Yuji learning his technique or using the soul book, Yuta and Inumaki, Maki, Hikari, that could be 5 or 10 like 5 to 10 chapters, right? And you see how this just starts stacking up, and you can really see how like, and like, okay, let's talk about Yuta versus Kenjaku. Let's say that's 10 chapters. Okay, now you're at like 35 chapters at this point. And then you have Yuji versus Sukuna, and then you have Megami if he's gonna come back, and then you have Miwa, and then you have you have Kashimo, and it's like all of this stuff starts snowballing, right? To where if Sukuna decides he wants to take his time, he takes his time.
Not only that, that's also assuming you don't want to do anything like to address the wider world ramifications of everything that just happened, right? So there's no epilogue of any kind.
100%. He can.
Like
if I were you, I wouldn't look at this and be like, this means we're getting several more years, right? I know some people have taken it to mean that.
Right. It's Gege Akutami, bro.
I wouldn't take it like that.
You know what being a JJK fan is like sometimes? You know that meme of the guy in hell with the guns being like, where is this? It always feels like, where is Gege Akutami for me? Every time he speaks, it's just like, bro, put him up. Let's go. Take like outside now. I love your manga though. Just like, come on, man. Like, talk to me about it. Why the rush?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is like, I don't know. He's crazy, and I won't spoil too much because this actually has a lot to do with the video I'm making, right? But I have noticed that, Jesus, I'm gonna turn that off. I have noticed that like, there was a pretty large point in Gege's like writing style where he was a very build up, take your time type of writer.
Yeah, which is why I thought you meant like he takes his time, because like the biggest example is the Higuruma chapter. Like that was a guy who was not in a rush to end the manga, you know?
I mean, even if you look at that, right? If you really look at things in the grander scale and scope, right? The 80 chapters leading up into the Shibuya incident arc all do a great job of setting up the Shibuya incident arc, right? And then that arc is just 50 chapters of one night, right?
Yeah.
That's all one. It can and has done this before. I'm not saying he will. I'm not saying he should, but I'm saying he has the ability to and has done this before. I take this to mean like we will get a little bit of that. I would be so happy if he said this shit's not ending until 2027 or something like that, right? But I also don't think, right, to some extent, I do think that this would have been a sentiment more appreciated. I don't want to sound ungrateful, but it would have been a sentiment more appreciated at a different time. It's not that like, it's just Gojo versus Sukuna is such a weird place to say like, oh no, we still got a ton of time left.
Yeah, that seems like
kind of, it's like you can do that, right? And that's not crazy, but it's also just like, okay, fair, but this is also feeling like one of them end game level fights, you know what I mean?
Yeah, because like everything hinges on this fight, right? That's why everybody's huddled around a bunch of screens, like reacting to this instead of doing stuff. Like this is it. Like the story literally cannot progress until this is settled.
Yeah. So I'm happy about it though. Like, I don't know if I think it's as useless as a lot of people think. I don't know if I think it's as useful as a lot of people think. But I do think we can, like, this kind of, at least points in the direction of having another like year of JJK. It's not for certain. Gege could just mean like, you know, because technically, a week is soon. So as long as it doesn't end within a week, JJK didn't end anytime soon, right?
And that's why he's in hell, bro. Like,
look, I could see something like that, right? And that like that's not absurd. Anytime soon, I understand people's like concerns is a vague way to tell time, but I also think like when we're just thinking reasonable human beings, which maybe that's a problem when talking about gay. Like I think a year is like a very safe middle ground estimate.
Yeah. Overall, I think I come away with it more with positive feelings than I do negative, but not overly.
I'm not like, oh my god, JJK's never ending. We got 5 more years. Listen, if Gege said, I promise you I'm not ending this in the next 5 years, then
you're gonna know he's lying.
Then, no, listen. He's either lying, which would hurt my feelings, or I could jump for joy and truly just break down into tears and cry because I know my agendas are coming true. I just know it, bro. I just know it. And then the thing is, I could expand my agendas once again, bro. How hard it's been to budget my beliefs, budget my hopes and dreams. But yeah, I'm kind of not only in favor of it being a little bit longer, but I also think it can work to be longer.
Same. He's